I was asked to speak 12 years ago when we had our Vigil back then, and I was asked to represent the treatment community. I have been a treatment provider in the behavioral health space for over 40 years. At the time, I had founded and I was directing a treatment program for people with struggling with substance use issues that was considered pretty radical at the time because we had a priority on engagement. That was the first thing that we really focused on, was making sure that we offered a system of care and help that people found helpful and welcoming, and engagement was the number one priority. And what a system we would have if that was really our number one priority. I am pleased that here we are a dozen years later with the big turnout, and that there are a lot of programs out there that claim to be doing more person-centered practices, embracing goals other than abstinence, that active use with improvement is still a very clear definition of recovery. Recovery doesn't necessarily mean abstinence. It means living a self-directed, full, meaningful life. And people that use substances still are in recovery. And so, again, just really wanting to kind of bring that point home. I'm also just want to share very briefly that despite decades of being a treatment provider, some people would even consider me to be an expert. I have a very dear family member, my sibling, who is currently very, very sick, and she is struggling with active substance use and mental health issues, and I'm very fearful that she's going to die. And I am an expert, and I can't help her. And at least I haven't been able to help her. And so for those of you that have loved ones that you've lost, I just want you to know that it's not your fault. You can be an expert and you still might not have been able to help them. And I also want to say that as a family member or a concerned other, it is your decision about how you choose to stay in your concern of your loved one's life. There is nobody ever that should tell you, what to do and how to do it, because it's you and your loved one that are in this journey. Thank you. And right on. And so, it's this love, whatever, let go, and loving, let go. That's the right thing. You decide, because for many of you, you've been there or you are there. Letting go means accepting that you might lose your loved one. And so letting go is a tragic decision, and it's not one that anybody makes on your behalf. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Hi. I'm one of those people that can't stand the sound of my own voice, so I apologize in advance. I'm not going to drone on and on. I just want to take a minute to reflect on how different this is than the first time we gathered in 2010, when just a handful of the diehard harm reduction people came. We had 100 some odd deaths the previous year, and we were fucking outraged that 100 people had died, and we wanted to do something about it. And what we were doing was illegally giving Narcan out of the trunks of our cars because it was illegal to possess or distribute Narcan. So I am really gratified and thrilled to see so many people here. I do want to acknowledge two in particular. First, I want to acknowledge the Steve Rumler Hope Network, who it's because of the work that they did that all of us get to have vans like this that we give Narcan away out of, so thank you. They have also been a supporter of this event in almost every single year of the 12 years that we have done this, so we're really grateful to see Lexi, who's in a different role now, but here, and other people from Rumler. We're really grateful for long-term support. And another person who has no idea I'm going to do this, but I really have to thank, Pam. I've done this, sort of in a bubble for 12 years, not because people didn't want to help, but because it's a very personal venture for me. So it's very hard for me to allow other people space to participate in this planning process. But something I realized this year is that this issue is a lot bigger than I am. And I can't do this just miles, throwing things together. That's why we formed a nonprofit this year. We have a great board of directors. We are exploring what more we can be doing because what's happening is not working. I know what I see from my perspective that's missing in Minnesota is the voices of people who are using drugs and in the community of drug use, in talking to those folks about, hey, what is going to be helpful for you? How can we involve you in participating and developing these programs? Because, giving Narcan needles and, that ain't harm reduction. Harm reduction isn't throwing Narcan at people and saying, peace, have a great day, we met you where you're at, now we're going to leave you here. We need to get out of that pattern and really make Minnesota the gold standard for safe use facilities and how to do these things the best way. Minnesota has been a model for these sorts of things in the recovery world. The Minnesota model used to be the gold standard for the nation. We need to step into the 20-whatever century we're in and really start meeting people where they're at with our hearts free of stigma and judgment and trying to finagle people into our abstinence-based programs at some point. We really need to start really doing what is going to help people. So thank you, guys.